What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video, we're bringing back Perrserker into the Ultra League. Arguably one of the deadliest Pokemon that you guys can use in this meta, especially when it has shield advantage and the opponent is unshielded. Close combat and foul play is a beautiful source of coverage, along with that steel typing to resist fairy type moves. Now we're going to pair it with Dragonite and Lapras, so let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this team. Alright, getting into the first battle, we have Dragonite on the lead versus Registeel. Okay, so somewhat of a neutral matchup right here. Obviously, Zap Cannon is going to be doing a good amount of damage, but we also have access to Superpower, which I love. It got this charge move last year with a big update, and obviously Dragonite with Superpower is just, it's unbelievable. So we're going to go ahead and let the first Zap Cannon go through. We're then going to look to go for Superpower right here. This does a lot of super effective damage, and I held it because I didn't want to get debuffed and get hit with the Zap Cannon, but they make a beautiful swap into a Clefable, which you guys haven't seen already. I did make a video yesterday on Clefable. Absolutely love it, but Perrserker can come in and do very well. Yes, we are doing resisted damage with foul play and close combat, but the beautiful thing is that steel typing allows us to resist the charge moves. Now, that was still about like 40% HP from a Moonblast, but we're in a very unique position where we can go for foul plays here and look to commit to the farm down, as we're going to go ahead and shield right here. And now we're going to come out of this matchup with a lot of energy, as Moonblast is going to get blocked. And this is going to be an interesting situation, is if my opponent decides to shield here, right? Because they want to get 2 shields from me, which they do decide to do. I now have the green light to farm down. So I'm going to go ahead and double shield, and this is where Perrserker is deadly, right? You have like shield advantage and your opponent is unshielded, or you have so much energy and they don't have enough shields. Remember, the Registeel is low with no energy, and there's a Jellicent in the back. The coverage, I'm telling you guys, I said at the beginning, close combat, foul play, added steel typing with a Shadow Claw fast move. It's a beautiful Pokemon to have on your Ultra League roster, and yours doesn't have to be fully XL'd either. Mine isn't. I'm going to go ahead and swap into Dragonite here. Try to force some energy, save my Perrserker. Mine isn't fully XL'd. It's only, I think, level 42 or 43, as you guys could check from the IVs and the combat power. Now, I misjudged how much energy Registeel had, so they get a free Focus Blast on me, unfortunately. But Lapras can easily come in and get to a Surf right here to take out Registeel, because of the combination of our Superpower from Dragonite, the Shadow Claw damage from Perrserker. Registeel is low enough, Surf takes it out. Jellicent in the back as well. Lapras is just tanky. I'm going to be honest, Lapras is just very, very tanky, especially when you have access to Skull Bash and you can get it relatively early, because those Shadow Balls aren't going to be doing anything. So I'm going to go ahead and go for the Skull Bash here. Yes, probably double Surf is a better option, but Skull Bash is going to do enough and guarantee that my defense is boosted so that I have a guaranteed win con here. So we can easily soak that, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Double Surf right there, maybe wouldn't have done enough. We would have lost the CMP tie on the second one, right? All right, moving to the next one, we have Dragonite versus Charizard here on the lead. So let's see how they decide to play it out. It is a wing attack Charizard, so they're going to be getting to Dragon Claw relatively quickly. But as a Dragonite user, I know you want to shield, but I decide not to. I'm going to go ahead and let this go, because now I want to put the pressure on them with my own Dragon Claw, because it's going to do a lot of damage along with Dragon Breath. So we do get a shield. Now I'm going to swap into Lapras, getting ahead on energy, and we draw out a Scrafty. This is what's very crucial with this team. When you have a Flyer and a Steel type paired together, Dragonite and Perrserker, you want to have a safe swap that can draw out fighters, and that not only can draw out fighters, but can also put in a good amount of work against them. And with Skull Bash here doing so much neutral damage and them only having 1 shield, I'm going to be able to get to a Surf. Yeah, this is beautiful. We're going to go ahead and let the Power Up Punch go through. Now, unfortunately for me, I don't get it off. The timing of the energy coming back was like 1 turn too late, so I was unfortunately not able to get it. But now we have drawn out the Scrafty, so I am going to fully trust in Perrserker to sweep this game. Remember, there's still a Charizard. We come in and Shadow Claw down. We took a lot of damage right there from counter, but we have 2-to-1 shields. And this is what I'm talking about, sweeping teams. We took out the Scrafty. What else did they got? They got a Giratina Altered. This is beautiful. Giratina Altered with Dragon Breath. Again, that steel typing. It's going to come in more and more in this meta as there's a lot of Fairy, there's a lot of Dragon. You're going to be resisting those. And we're going to go ahead and just keep going with Shadow Claw here for super effective. We are going to no-shield. This is a tough call, but their win con is going to be with a Charizard with energy. So I'm going to go ahead and go for Foul Play. Now, this is obviously going to be close. Thankfully, they don't have Fire Spin, as the new meta move for Charizard is Wing Attack. But I have the energy gain and the 2-to-1 shields where I can easily take down a Charizard now. Even if they go for double Dragon Claws, they won't be able to get to a third in time. That's what's beautiful about a Perrserker, is you're going to be dancing a fine line of energy, health, and shields. But if you set it up correctly by getting rid of those Swampers, getting rid of the Scrafties or Obstagoons, you can do very well. Good game. Moving to the next one, we got Gallade here on the lead, which is obviously a very cool Pokemon. It was hyper meta years back, especially in the old Ultra League Premier Cup. And I mean, I think it still does well there, because it just does so much damage. Confusion and Leaf Blade, right? 50% HP on a flying type Pokemon and dragon type, right? That's kind of ridiculous. Now we're going to go ahead and go for Dragon Claw here, just to try to get this Gallade out of the game. We're going to Dragon Breath down. Now, we're going to look to save Dragonite, and actually there's a Galarian Stunfisk that comes in. So we're going to go for the Superpower first, and then swap out. Swapping out clears any buff or debuff you have on your Pokemon. Superpower applies debuffs, right? Attack and defense. So we're going to go ahead and swap into the Lapras. And this is not as bad of a matchup as you might be thinking, because we have access to Surf, and we do neutral damage with Ice Shard. So we're going to go ahead and get a shield right there. Rock Slide does not KO Lapras. This is Ultra League Lapras. It can soak that damage. So we can easily get to another Surf in time without even needing to be forced to shield here in this matchup, because Rock Slide's just not enough. Maybe the third, yeah, we're going to have to shield, but we should be able to get to another Surf in time, which we do. And if this forces 2 shields, like I said at the beginning, Perrserker will put in work. So now they're going to be forced to throw energy right here. I'm going to let it go. There is nothing in this meta that can survive a Perrserker with 2 shields and this much energy. There's just not. So they decide to swap out, and it's going to be a Shadow Lapras in the back. So that's going to be a good game. We're going to go ahead and shield this first one. And now I have to do a very interesting dance right here. I have to throw Close Combat, and then I need to clear my debuff. It's going to be interesting, but we throw the Close Combat. We swap into Dragonite so that they farm me down. I clear my debuff, and now I can come in. I can let this Surf go through again. I said this earlier, you have to dance a fine line of shields, energy, and health. You got to know how much damage things are going to be doing to you. Now we can go for the Close Combat, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Obviously, our loose con would have been double shielding Surfs, because the Galarian Stunfisk could have gotten a free Earthquake off against us. Not that I think Dragonite would have been able to come in and Dragon Breath down anyways, but good game. We got Escavalier here on the lead. Obviously a good matchup for us on lead because of our backline, so we want to look to make quick work of it, and I don't want to debuff myself just yet. An Escavalier can be sneaky. With Mega Horn or Aerial Ace, that damage, even Mega Horn, even though it is resisted, it still hurts. So you don't want to debuff yourself right away. You just want to chip down, because Dragon Breath and Dragon Claw into this, even into the steel typing of Escavalier, can do a lot of damage. Now they decide to swap out into Trevenant, so I'm going to go ahead and swap into Perrserker, and I swap in really late. That's a late swap on me. So I got to be forced to shield here. It is just going to be a Seed Bomb, and now I don't want to get into a situation where I'm down 0 shields, so instead I decide to throw the Foul Play right away, and we get the Trevenant out of there. Boom. See ya. In comes a Charizard. So now they have revealed their full team. I know what's going on here, and they also have Fire Spin. So we're going to be able to do a very good job with Lapras right now, because what they likely might do is they might blind throw a Dragon Claw thinking I come in with Dragonite, right? It's going to be something to consider. So I'm going to throw these 2 Foul Plays. We get the Charizard low, even up on shields. Now I'm going to go ahead and come in with Lapras, and they throw right away. We're going to let this go. We're going to trust that it's not Blast Burn. Blast Burn can't KO anyways. and it is just a Dragon Claw, which is beautiful. They swap back into Escavalier, so now I come in with the Dragonite and go for Dragon Claws once again, getting the final shield of this game. And now I'm going to go ahead and safely shield because we should be able to get to another Dragon Claw in time. And our Lapras doesn't need a shield in order to beat Charizard, right? It only needs to land one Surf. And this Charizard also had Fire Spin, which means it wouldn't be able to farm us down because of our typing. We would Dragon Breath down in time. Good game. All right, moving into the next one. We have Dragonite on the lead versus Venusaur. So, a very nice matchup right here. Sludge Bomb is something to consider, but it's not something to consider on a lead. It's something to watch out for later on in the match, but I think they decided to go for Frenzy Plant right away. So I'm just going to easily let this go. That's definitely resisted, and now we're going to look to go for Dragon Claw. And whenever your opponent stays into a matchup that's losing, and they decide to shield, you know they're weak in the back. So we're going to go ahead and see that they swap out into Gyarados. I'm going to go ahead and go for another Dragon Claw right here. And this is a Dragon Breath Gyarados. Something to note. We are taking super effective damage. And we get 2 shields. So a lot of shields gone early. So this is obviously going to be very favorable for me to sweep this game with Perrserker. We're going to let the Lapras, we're going to no-shield everything. We're going to look to go for that Skull Bash. And now this is looking to be a good game. I decide to no-shield the Crunch. But what I decide to do here is because Lapras gets the Skull Bash, this boosts my defense, and we have Ice Shard as the fast move, I'm going to try to see if I can farm down this Venusaur. I will have to shield once, but it's going to be close. I think they might, it's going to be close to see if they can actually get to the next one. Let's see. Yeah, they do get to it in time, so barely right there. I have to let this go. But ultimately, we got all the energy from them. So they can't throw any more charge moves that come in with Dragonite. They only have one Pokemon left, and it is going to be a Charizard. So we're going to go ahead, and this is Fire Spin Charizard as well. So we're going to go ahead and go for Dragon Claw, and that is going to be a good game as they decided to, I think, close the game. This is what happens if you don't surrender, but like you just close the app. The opponent just, the Pokemons don't do anything. They just stay there. So we're going to Dragon Breath down. But that's going to be a good game. Ultimately, we had a very good handle on their team, and I think the shields early was kind of tough for them and put them in a really tough spot, especially since I had a Perrserker in the back. All right, Mandiba's on the lead. So this is very interesting because you feel the urge to go for Superpower, but you really don't want to because then you're going to be forced to shield foul plays. So we're just going to go for Dragon Claw. Both are neutral, Superpower and Dragon Claw. And we should be able to survive in order to get ourselves in a 2-to-1 shield advantage and farm down with Lapras as long as they don't swap out. So we're going to go ahead and let this go. This is fine. No need to shield. Dragonite will be okay. Foul play isn't enough to take us down. But we should be able to get to 2 Dragon Claws right here because if they try to commit to the farm down, it's not going to happen. So we're going to go ahead and throw that Dragon Claw. We get a shield. And now we can get to the next Dragon Claw, the next Dragon Claw in time, which is, oh, it's beautiful. If you get 2 shields this early, I'm telling you guys, woo, they really wanted switch, which I'm fine with. Lapras can easily come in, but you can already smell the Perrserker just wanting to boom that backline, no matter what it is. Even if it's a Shadow Machamp back there. Shadow Machamp does not like close combat, everyone. Hate to break it to you, but we're just going to go ahead and let all of these go. We're going to farm down. Now, let's see what they decide to come in with. It is going to be a Ferrothorn. So we're going to swap into Perrserker. In comes a Cobalion. Doesn't matter. Cobalion does not like close combat either. So we're going to go ahead and shield this first Sacred Sword. And this is the tough thing right here. Is we take so much damage, but we have to dance this correctly. Close combat is not enough to KO a Cobalion. But we can't overcharge too much on energy, so we have to throw that first one, and now we commit to the farm down. Double shield, commit to the farm down, and this should be a good game. Yeah, we're able to get there in time, and now we have close combat ready to go for Ferrothorn, and this is what I'm talking about here. If you get shields early, there's not a lot in this meta that can honestly survive the onslaught. Even a Tapu Fini. Right? If Perrserker had 2 shields to 0 shields, the Shadow Claw and Foul Play damage would just be too much. So that's going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, Dragonite versus Walrein here on the lead. So a tough lead, we got to swap out right away, but thankfully we have superpower for later on. Now they decide to stay in, which I thought was very interesting. That means they're weak in the back. Could be flyers, could be fires, could be dragons. Either way, we should be okay as long as we keep Dragonite away from Walrein. We're going to go ahead and go for Skull Bash. Now they went for that Earthquake early. I could have gotten away with shielding that, knowing that it's going to be the hardest hitting move, because after our Skull Bash we should be okay. But either way, we can easily survive another one right here. It's not going to do as much damage because our defense was boosted, so we can survive that. And now they're going to go for an Icicle Spear, and this is still not enough, right? Lapras is so tanky, especially with Skull Bash, so we can let that go through. We're not shielding whatsoever. We are just trying to get this Walrein as low as possible. We're going to go ahead and go for the Skull Bash. We get a shield, and now we're just going to try to go for a Surf, and they are going to commit to the farm down. I think this might have been a slight mistake looking back on it. I could have gone into the Perrserker, but ultimately I wanted to keep alignment. I wanted to keep this Walrein away from my Dragonite. So now what I'm going to do is kind of a nice little peekaboo. I come in with Dragonite and swap into Perrserker because I know they have loaded energy, so they go for Icicle Spear. They're staring at the top right of their screen. They saw Dragon flying, and I swapped right away and baited out the Icicle Spears, which I thought was fun. I always love a nice little peekaboo play. Alright, what do they got in the back? It's a Muck, and this is a Snarl Muck. So this is going to be kind of tough. I'm going to have to shield right here. Dark Pulse would be enough to KO us, but I'm also concerned about what that final Pokemon could be. So I'm going to go for a close combat, and then I'm going to look to go into Dragonite right here. I want to clear my debuff. We get the shield, so I'm going to go ahead and go for another one. And now it's such a tough call. Looking back on this, maybe I should have stayed in with Perrserker, but I decided to swap into Dragonite, and it's a Togekiss in the back. So it honestly, it didn't matter. We don't have the Iron Head on our, is it Heavy Slam or Iron Head? One of the Steel type moves, I do apologize, that Perrserker has access to. It wouldn't have mattered. Togekiss is going to take us. We're too low. Even though we have Steel typing here, we're too low, right? If Perrserker has more health, yes, we take this matchup, but ultimately I gotta let it go. That's gonna be a good game, and they get the boost at the end. The little flex on me right there as Togekiss is smiling. But overall, really, really fun sets right here. We got Dragonite now versus Galvantula, so somewhat of a neutral matchup, and I really want to get this Galvantula out of there because it can do a lot of work against my team. Neutral damage or super effective across the board. So we're gonna go ahead and shield one Discharge, and then look to just go for these Dragon Claws right here. We put so much pressure with our fast move. It's more pressure than theirs, right? So we should be able to outpace if we go into 2 shields. As you guys can see, yeah, 2 shields, we can easily take this. So we're going to go ahead and look to shield again, and then commit to the farm down here. But they decide to swap out, and they go into Jellicent. Now remember, Galvantula is out of energy, so we're going to go ahead and go for Dragon Claw here, do some chip damage, and then load back up and try to catch a charge move on Lapras. I was hoping they might go for the Surf there, maybe for some just chip damage before I bailed out. But ultimately, we're going to be tanking these Shadow Balls now, which is okay. Lapras can easily tank 2. 3 is the KO range. But now we're going to go for Surfs. I know before I went for a Skull Bash, but that was late in the game, and that was with enough the health remaining where it was the win con, basically. But now we got to go for Surfs here in this matchup and just do as much chip damage as possible. They do get another Shadow Ball off, which is fine. But they can't farm me down before I get to 2 Surfs. Here's the first one. This might just force a shield for my opponent. It does. Beautiful. And now let's see if we can get to the third one. They actually swap back into Galvantula. But Galvantula's out of energy. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come in with the Perrserker. We're going to farm down with Shadow Claw. And now let's see what they got. It is going to be a Roserade. Okay, we got to watch out for that Weather Ball here. So we're going to go ahead and throw the Foul Play. And then we want to save the health on Perrserker, so we're going to swap out right away into Dragonite and go for a Dragon Claw, which I had stored. Because now this forces them to throw, and if they don't, they get farmed down. And Jellicent as well is now forced to throw. So this is going to be a good game. If this is Surf, which it is, it's not enough to KO, or it is enough to KO, but it is not enough for us for them to win this game because they don't have enough energy for a Shadow Ball. So we can survive that Surf, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. All right, moving to the next one, we got Dragonite versus Haxorus. Been wanting to see this one. And it's got Dragon Tail. So this is, we're chunking each other. This is just nasty. And they swap out right away into a Togekiss. Oof. They catch the charge move. Beautiful catch by my opponent. So I'm going to swap out into Lapras now and look to lock this thing down. I know Perrserker has that Steel type to resist Charm, but Lapras is better in this matchup because of Ice Shard and Surf. So we're going to go ahead and shield. Stop that Ancient Power. We want to have health on this back end because we can still do super effective damage to Haxorus. That's very important. So we're going to go ahead and go for the Surf as it is neutral damage. Take out the Togekiss. Now we have energy. Haxorus, even though it is a dragon, and it will get Breaking Swipe, this dragon is not tanky enough to survive a Surf. Let's be honest. We can easily survive that. We're going to go for a Surf here with the added damage from Ice Shard, which is beautiful as Lapras now is going to take out the Haxorus. Final Pokemon is going to be a Walrein. So we're going to go ahead and come in with the Perrserker right here. And now we have put ourselves into a very tough situation. We're going to go for the Foul Play first. I'm looking for a Shield Bait here. Let's see if we get it. We do. Perfect. And now I have to go for the Hail Mary Close Combat. I have to shield as well. It was just an Icicle Spear. So now I got to go for Close Combat, and they are probably worried about another Foul Play debuff. But you got to go for the Close Combat. Do we get it? Of course we do. Boom! You love to see it. So now that is going to be a good game. This would have been a close one. I think had I not landed Close Combat, what I would need to do is wait out the switch clock, come in with Dragonite, catch the charge move on Lapras, and then, yeah, hopefully I get to a superpower, but looking at the health, I actually wouldn't have been able to. So the Close Combat landing was actually clutch. All right, good game. We got a Muck now on the lead with Poison Jab, which is something interesting to note because I can't really stay in this matchup as they're likely just going to go for Acid Spray. I'm just going to get whittled down. So I'm going to go for the Superpower and then swap into Lapras now to catch the charge move, clear the debuffs on our Dragonite, and look to see what we can do here in the mid game, hopefully drawing out a fighter. We draw out in a Alolan Raichu, which I haven't seen in a while, but it's very unique and very cool. And what you also want to note is Alolan Raichu has access to a wide variety of moves. Thunder Punch, Wild Charge, Grass Knot, Psychic. So what we see here is then going to determine what we do next. We let this go, and it's a Grass Knot. So what's your thoughts? Right? It's not Thunder Punch. They got Wild Charge on the back end. So we got to come in with Dragonite. We have to shield. Had it been a Thunder Punch, maybe I no shield, right? Thunder Punch is not as much damage, but a Wild Charge definitely is. So we're going to commit to that farm down. The Muck has no health, or it has a little bit of health and no energy, but we have an Abomasnow come in. This is why I love Superpower on Dragonite, is that shield pressure, and now we can safely swap into Perrserker, Steel typing against the Ice Grass moves here on Abomasnow, and this is going to be a good game. There's not a lot they can do. I can easily go for Foul Play here against Muck, and because Muck is doing poison damage with Poison Jab and Acid Spray, we aren't worried. We're not worried whatsoever. We can easily no-shield this. It's going to be an Acid Spray, and then we're going to look to commit to that farm down and have double Close Combat ready to go. And this is why I love the combination on Perrserker of Steel type, Shadow Claw, Close Combat, and Foul Play. It's arguably the best setup. I wish Perrserker was tankier, right? If Perrserker was just a bit tankier, then we'd really be talking. But it's so glassy that it can just one-shot everything, especially with super effective damage. So Abomasnow, unfortunately, is going to go back to the Ice Age right here. Boom! See ya. That is going to be a good battle, very well played. This team was so much fun to use, everyone. A lot of strong Pokemon. If you guys haven't seen the Clefable video, I posted that yesterday. This is a Perrserker, Lapras backline, Dragonite lead. A lot of accessible Pokemon here. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.